Alright, Twitch. You haven't let me down yet. See if we can't find the stream. There is the stream. Oh, nice little Twitch. First time I've seen that on a Race Spec stream. That's fine. I briefly heard the audio and it seems to be working okay, so it's all good. From what I can gather on my end. Just be waiting on everybody else to show up in the lobby. Quickly check something. I don't think I can change it here. OSD. Yeah, didn't think so. It's strange, you can't change any of the on-screen display stuff in that settings menu. You have to wait until you're in the lobby so you can change on-screen display stuff. Very strange. I don't know why that's a thing. But we shouldn't be too far away from the start of this event. For now, we're just going to chill out. Wait for everyone to be ready. And once the ready up signal is given, we'll get round one underway. But for now, we just chill. Both Williams, both Houses, Smokey's here, Stubley's reserving, Duffy's reserving. I have to check this again. JBH is the person we're missing. Okay. It's the other Mercedes driver. Once he joins, we'll have 16, and that's all we'll have for this event. Fair few people unable to attend, but that's okay. Long season ahead. Hopefully we'll have a full grid here and there over the course of the season. Would be nice. Well, there's a ready up signal given by Captain KD. There's a timer. So, once that timer hits 0, start my intro as per normal. Get this show on the road. Hello, Luke. Nice to see you in the chat. Hello everyone and welcome to the first round of the America's Tier 1 Championship here on Race Spec Esports. I'm Lane Everingham, your commentator for this event, and for the opening round of the championship we'll be competing at the Red Bull Ring for the Austrian Grand Prix. Formerly known as the Österreich Ring, this legendary circuit was created all the way back in 1969. The original 3.67 mile layout is somewhat different to what we race on today, thanks to the major track redesign in 1996 that was headed by none other than track-making supremo Hermann Tilke. The modern-day circuit on which we race on today measures up at 2.67 miles and consists of 10 turns and 3 DRS zones. that lead into the prime overtaking spots of turn 1, turn 3 and turn 4. Outside of those hotspot areas, drivers will need to be mindful about the final 2 corners of turns 9 and 10. It's incredibly easy for a driver who is on the edge to push beyond the track limits through that section. Even the real life drivers have trouble with this, and maybe the drivers in the lobby are going to have even more trouble. It is currently raining here at the beginning of qualifying, and I don't think it's letting up anytime soon. Speaking of which, with it being a relatively short lap time and a well-used racetrack in online league racing, qualifying even in these conditions should be fairly competitive. It's little wonder there why people do regard this track as one of the better ones for racing on the championship calendar. Get all the necessary stuff up, the telemetry, lap data and the track map, and we'll do something for our American audience. Miles an hour. There we are. Lovely jubbly. Got some information from Rebellion. Wet quali, dry race. But there's a fair point that I'm going to illustrate here. If we go over to weather and time of day, forecast accuracy is approximate. So even though the game says that it's going to be a dry race, if there are any clouds on that on those weather icons, there might be a chance for rain. So just keep that in mind. It's not accurate, it's not perfect when it comes to the accuracy here on Race Spec. It is approximate. It's very, very important to keep that in mind. Couple of drivers out on track. We've got Captain Schmeg and KD 1997, 2 veterans of the Americas series, as it were. I believe both of them were here when I started commentating America's series all the way back at Season 2. And here we are at the beginning of Season 8. It's been a long, long time. But here at the Red Bull Ring, both Elite Series and Pacific Tier 1 have brought about incredibly interesting races. And typically, with the Americas series, they tend to put on quite a show. So I'm looking forward to this. Captain Schmeg will head around the final corner here at the Red Bull Ring. We're going to ride on board, give you a guided tour of this 2.6 mile racetrack. Up the hill towards turn 1, the Niki Lauda curve, braking at the 100 meter board down to 4th gear, clobbering the inside curve. Get a nice tidy exit here as we head up the hill towards the left-hand kink of turn 2 and up towards the more critical corner, the right-hand hairpin of turn 3. Braking at the 100 meter board, bringing it down to 2nd gear, short shifting up to 3rd. Being gentle on the power, eventually reaching full throttle as he climbs up through the gears, heading towards the downhill hairpin of turn 4. Braking at the 100 board again, down to 3rd gear, clipping the apex, gently reapplying the power, avoiding the outside curve. That's a good idea in these wet weather conditions. Into turn 6, the left-hander, down to 5th gear, back on the power nice and gently. This will complete the middle sector as we head around turn 7 and into the right-hander of turn 8. A little bit of traffic in front, as I believe that is Scottish Duffy getting out of the way. Around the final 2 corners, turns 9 and 10. Very tricky, very fast, complex here. Very easy to invalidate a lap. Captain Schmeg does no such thing. He'll set the benchmark, a 1 minute 12.401. Be interesting to see how the other drivers fare over the course of this qualifying session. A few old names, a few new names. JM624 is a driver who I believe I haven't seen before. Scottish Duffy is a reserve driver for Ferrari in this event. I think it's meant to be Mr. Nars is supposed to be in this car full time. He's unable to attend, so we have Duffy in the Scarlet Red Ferrari. Blockman, defending drivers champion, making his way up towards turn number 3. Braking hard, bringing it down to 3rd gear, getting back on the power, modulating the throttle, 4th gear, 5th gear, eventually reaching full throttle. You have to be so very careful on the accelerator heading out of these tricky traction zones in these slippery weather conditions. KD's gone 2nd fastest, by the way. He is a solid 4/10 off Captain Schmeg, so that 12.4, pretty good lap time. Pretty good indeed. Blockman down the hill into the final part of the racetrack. Turn 7, the left-hander, then into the right of turn 8. Parker jumps up to P2, a new name for me. He does a 12.5. Around the final 2 corners, full Blockman as he heads down the hill Hasn't invalidated yet. Axis goes quickest with an 11.4. Blockman will cross the line to set an 11.4 himself. In fact, he's only 5 thousandths of a second quicker than Axis in P2. Incredibly tight. Saucy, another returning name. He's P3 in the Red Bull with an 11.9. Rebel, Blockman's teammate. Once again, these two are in the Alpines. They're going to be a strong combination. Rebel making his way towards turn number 4. 7th gear, shifting it up into top gear. Brings it all the way down to 3rd. An apex speed of 65 miles an hour there. Coming out of turn 5. That's going to be a very tricky zone to get through. Trying to apply the accelerator while turning the car. Down the hill, round turn 7. It's a tricky little complex 7 and 8. Very easy to get it wrong, particularly in these conditions where you don't have a lot of grip. 2 corners left for Rebel. Chucks it round turn 9. Down the hill and around turn 10. Got a Williams, I believe, off in the grass there. They're going back into the pits. Rebel jumps to the top at 11.2. I have a distinct feeling that the conditions are improving out there because Blockman just improved too. He improved by, what, 400ths? Set a low 4. So, yeah, I do believe the conditions are improving. Capone, another new name that I haven't seen on track. Making his way up into turn 3. Bringing it down to 3rd gear. Getting back on the power. Or you can see the back end stepping out there as he applied the accelerator. So easy to do that, trust me. These conditions, it is so slippery out there. One false move with the accelerator and round it goes. And again, Capone very sideways out of turn 4. Nando, another new name in the Haas, is currently P4. He's done an 11.7. And driver's just trying to gauge conditions at the moment. I do believe they are improving. Oh, gee whiz. Red Bull is sliding absolutely everywhere. He's giving it some. Good enough to keep the car straight, though, after those little slides. He led up towards the line to set a 1 minute 12.2, 9th fastest on the board. KD up by 0.3 of a second, sporting a 4th of July helmet there. Looks quite nice, actually, in the Ferrari. KD will cross the line to set an 11.7, 5th fastest for the Ferrari driver. Nanda's going back into the pits. Blockman is sideways out of the final corner. He'll begin a flying lap attempt as he heads towards turn 1. Entry speed of 191 miles an hour brings it all the way down to 82 at the apex. He's sliding out of the corner. He's sliding into the wall, completely destroying the front wing. Deary me. We'll go back into the pits and get that fixed. That could have been so much worse, though. That could have been qualifying over. So he'll thank his lucky stars that he isn't out of the session. He's able to continue. Nanda's invalidated this run. Jay appears to be on a second flying lap as JVH has joined the session. That's good. Increases the field size to 16. Yeah, Jay not on a flyer. Black Baller not on a lap. Scottish Duffy, he's going back into the pits. Very tricky pit lane entry here at the Red Bull Ring. It is a bit easier now compared to previous games because this track, amongst a few others, got a complete rescan. So the pit lane entry is significantly wider at the beginning of turn 9 than it was in the past. Doesn't change the fact that it's a very tricky pit lane entry. It's probably one of the worst ones on the Formula 1 schedule, amongst others like Singapore or there'll be another one, Spa. The amount of times I've seen people bonk the wall at the pit entry at Spa. Very, very narrow. It's very tricky to get through sometimes. Smokey yet to set a lap time in the Alfa Romeo, making his way around the hairpin at turn 3. In first gear, your game, short shifting his way into the fence. Yeah, I was going to say, going down to first gear using second gear out of the hairpin, that's only inviting the back end to step out, and that's exactly what it did. And Smokey lost control and ultimately ended up in the wall. It's a shame. He'll be starting towards the back, if not the very back, if JBH can set a lap time. KD's found trouble at the exit of turn 4. Thankfully, he's still running. No obvious damage on the Ferrari either, but I think he's going back into pit lane. Saucy out on track in the Red Bull. Yeah, it was quite a nice piece of timing, Luke. Had to improvise a lot there. Saucy, P7, out lap, getting ready to do a flying lap. Shifted down to 3rd gear, getting back on the power, and onto the main straightaway. Now, try and take provisional pole. He has to improve by, well, just, 7/10 of a second. But as I mentioned, I do believe the conditions are improving, so he should be able to find a considerable amount of time. Maybe not provisional pole, but he might be able to jump up maybe towards the top 3. We'll see. He's dead even in the first sector, so he hasn't found any time, but he hasn't lost any time either. And you're not really expecting to find much in the first sector. It's really only one corner. Where you're going to find a lot of time is in the middle and in the final sector here at the Red Bull Ring. Meanwhile, his teammate, he's well down, invalidated his run, as a matter of fact, so Capone will probably go back into the pits. Coming up towards turn number 6, down to 4th gear, getting back on the power. Down towards the middle sector split. He's found time. He's found time. 2 3/4 tenths of a second to the middle sector. That sort of improvement. He's jumping up towards 4th position also. Round turn 9 down the hill towards turn 10, the final corner. Down to 4th gear. Nice and steady at the exit of the final turn. There we go. P4. 1 minute 11.713. He actually lost time in the final sector relative to his PB. There's definitely a bit more time on the table for Saucy, but I reckon he'd be pretty happy with a 4th place position. Blockman getting ready. Rebel on a flying lap. Round turn 4. Sideways at the exit of the corner as he applies the accelerator. Very, very showy, that slide. Not very fast though. Clock should, 4/10 down, Going to say the clock should reflect that. Alright, Blockman, let's see what you can do. Currently P2 behind your teammate with a 1 minute 11.4. Captain Schmeg as well has just jumped up to 4th position with an 11.6. My right on board. See what the Blockman can do. Into turn 1, 4th gear. Modulating the power. Oh, you have to be careful with that yellow sausage curve at the exit of turn 1. Really does unsettle the car. Round turn 2. He's down to the first sector, but that's okay. This is where you need to try and get your head down, try and find some time. 3rd gear, 4th gear, 5th gear, 6th gear, 7th, then up into 8th, heading into turn 4. 191 miles an hour brings it down to 60. At the apex, a little bit sideways, but he keeps it under control as he heads around turn 5 and into the left of turn 6. Down to 5th gear, back on the power. Heading down towards the middle sector split. Clock says he's up by 2/10 of a second. Out of turn 7, round turn 8. Using the full width of the circuit at the exit of the right-hander as we head now into turn 9. Down to 6th gear, back on the power. Down the hill as he heads around the final corner and back onto the main straightaway. This will beat Rebel. It'll be a 10.892. So he's got a little over 3.5 tenths in hand to his teammate. But something to point out, as you may notice with this onboard, there's no rain falling on the halo. So the track is going to dry up fairly quickly here. So timing is everything. You want to leave your last lap as late as possible. Ideally, you want to cross the finish line with 1 second to go when you begin your final flying lap. Ideally, but obviously that's going to be difficult to do. JBH, he appears to be in the Hamilton-mobile, making his way around the penultimate corner. Now around the final. Oh, that's a rough invalidation, that is. JBH will cross the line to set an 11.5. That would have put him P5 on the board. He would have liked that. But thankfully, he's still got a fair amount of battery that he can try and use. He'll have another crack at a flying lap. Blockman returns to pit lane. Saucy will do the same. KD out on track, making his way into the downhill hairpin of turn 4. Again, I like that helmet. That's a cool looking helmet. Up towards turn number 6. 6th gear, 7th gear. Bring it back down to 5th. Gets back on the power nice and easy. Down towards the middle sector split. Clock says he's up by a whopping 4.5 tenths of a second. Up the hill. Over the crest. Towards the final 2 corners of 9 and 10. Chucks it into the first right-hander. Downhill. And around the second right-hander to complete the flying lap. KD will set a 1 minute 10.657. That is the clearest indication that this... Oh, it's a very dry track now. Or it's getting drier very, very quickly. Capone's just jumped to the top with a 10.4. Stubbly out on track. He's not on a proper flyer. JBH, he's just set an 11.5, so he goes P8. But these times are set to tumble. Got people still waiting in the pits. Got a AlphaTauri and a Haas making their way out. So they'll be Axis, I'm guessing. No, it'll be Parker making his way out. The Haas behind is Captain Schmeg. And these two are getting ready for their final runs. Those on a flying lap, or at least appear to be on a flying lap. Oh! Okay, DRS is now enabled. There's still a fair amount of spray coming off these cars, but race control don't care. Race control don't care one bit. I think that means KD has timed his final run poorly. Yeah, he's done. With only a minute and a half, there's no way he's going to get out again. That's it. KD's done. Same with Capone. And now DRS is enabled. What a game changer. Right at the death of qualifying. Scottish Duffy has done the same. So who will be the first to attempt the flyer? Captain Schmeg getting ready. I reckon it is actually Captain Schmeg. Alright. In the Haas. Down. Oh, and a Red Bull in the wall. Who the hell was that? Was that Capone? Did he crash out at the final corner? Must have. Because Saucy's out on track still. So that must have been Capone. Alright, Captain Schmeg. What can you do? Up towards the first timing intermediate. Clock says he's up by half a second. You don't say. Track is almost bone dry. Everyone should be on inters as well, shouldn't they? No. We got drivers on slicks. Okay, let's keep this graphic up. Which is quicker, the slick tyre or the intermediate in these conditions? There's no spray coming off the tyres. Tell you what, these two will be a clear enough indication. Captain Schmeg making his way towards the middle sector split. Stubbly's retired from the session. So he's currently P5. Captain Schmeg, a 47.7, remember that. Nanda making his way towards the middle timing intermediate. Just needs to get through turn 6. 47.7, the time to beat. The clock says for Nanda, 46.1. Much quicker on the soft compound tyre. So everyone on the softs, they're going to gain large. Captain Schmeg invalidates on his final lap. So he will not improve. The best he can hope for is P10. And there's a few drivers behind on slick tyres right now. Nanda crosses the line and vaults to the top. A 5.8. Blockman. 2 corners to go. He's up massively as he heads around the final corner. Parker to P2. Black Baller to P3. Blockman to the top of the board with a 5.4. Nico making his way around the final 2 corners. Rebels jumped up to P2. It's an Alpine front row. Nico will cross the line. He jumps to P3. Saucy jumps to the top. The Red Bull jumps to the top. A 5.3. Wait, did someone beat that? I saw a 4 pop up. Someone did. Who the hell took pole? I didn't get to see who did. The session ended. Who did it? Axis in the AlphaTauri out of nowhere, right at the death of the session, did a 4.5, demoting Saucy down to P2. Blockman and Rebel P3 and 4. And Alpine, second row. Nico P5, followed by Nanda and Parker. Black Baller P8. The slowest of the soft runners, so much quicker than the Inters though. Jay, the fastest of those, in 9th, followed by Capone in 10th, KD 11th, then Stubley, JBH, Captain Schmeg, Scottish Duffy, and Smokey from the very back after crashing out during qualifying. What a weird session. I'm astonished by how quickly the track dried up, to such an extent that the soft runners were given such a massive advantage. It literally changed within a span of 2 or 3 minutes. That was quite incredible. Well, there you go. Timing was indeed everything, and the guy who timed it the best ended up getting pole position. Well done, Axis. What an effort. So, slightly overcast conditions. This is what I meant earlier about the approximate weather. The game may say that it's dry. It doesn't mean it actually will be dry throughout the race. There is a chance for rain. We just need to wait and see whether or not it will come. Fascinating. What a fascinating session that was. Now, the drivers are going to be given a fair amount of time to adjust their setups accordingly, ready for the race. The biggest things the drivers will have to worry about is what kind of strategy they want to go with. It seems, oh, that was quite fast. That was very, very fast. I thought the drivers would be given more time, but there you go. From Elite Series and Pacific Tier 1, the main strategies the drivers have gone with is either medium hard or hard medium. It seems like the soft tyre really isn't that great of a race tyre. And it's sort of reflected here in America's Tier 1 as well. So we'll run through the order just quickly. We have Axis starting from pole position. He's on the medium compound tyre. Saucy, who starts alongside him on the front row, is doing the same. Blockman P3 on the hard compound tyre. His teammate Rebel is on the medium, so a split strategy for the Alpine team. Nico, P5, is on the hards. Nanda in P6 is taking a gamble. He's on the soft compound tyre for the start of the Austrian Grand Prix. The following 3 cars, Parker, Black Baller, and Jay, they're all on the mediums. The following 4 cars, Capone in P10, KD in P11, Stubley in P12, and JBH in P13, they're all on the hards. And the final 3 cars, Captain Schmeg in P14, Duffy in P15, and Smokey at the back of the grid in 16th position, they're on the mediums. So, we have 9 drivers on the mediums, 1 on the softs, that means 6 on the hard tyre. So a decent mix when it comes to strategy choice here. And with a decent potential of wet weather, you can see it's grey. It is all grey around here in Spielberg. So there might be a chance of rain. It'll be fascinating to see who gets the strategy right. For now, though, we'll get rid of that graphic. We'll just focus on the race start. Now, again, like I explained in Elite Series and in Pacific Tier 1, this is the camera angle you get for the start. So what I'm going to do, going to go to the driver down in about P7, which is Parker. We're going to ride on board with him briefly for the start. We can see the lights go out and see what happens here in the midfield. See what's happened to the leaders as well when the lights go out. So everyone should be lined up, ready to run. We've got 16 cars on the grid, 36 laps in front of us, and 10 red lights. We're underway here at the Red Bull Ring. It's a nice start from Blockman and Rebel in P2 as we head up towards turn number 1. Rebel had a look down the inside but couldn't get it done. Hangs on to P3 though. Nanda has a pretty decent start. He moves up into P4. Nico up into 5th position. Wheel to wheel there at turn 2 as we head in 2x2 here into turn number 3. Oh, Nico having a brief look down the inside there into the hairpin. Luckily, nothing too chaotic happened from that, but that was very, very tight heading into the hairpin as we now make our way down into turn 4. Oh, I think Jay might have got into the back of Parker there as Capone moves through into P8. Stubley moves up into P10, KD, P11 as we head in side by side through turn 6. Stubbly gets in front. Black Baller has a look down the inside here at turn 7. KD hangs on to the position though. He hangs on to P11. But a great start from Axis out in front. Jay going into the pits. He did indeed hit Parker, if I recall correctly. Moves into the pit lane to repair his front wing. And he gives himself a 5-second penalty as well for speeding into the pits. Out in front, Axis is leading the way. He's got a 1.1 second margin over Saucy in P2, followed by Nanda in P3. Half a second is a gap between P2 and 3, and that's set to close in fairly quickly, thanks to the fact that Nanda's on the soft compound tyre. Rebel in P4, Blockman P5, a less than ideal start for both of the Alpine cars. I'm sure they were looking to move forward when the lights went out. Rebel has maintained 4th position, but Blockman, he's down 2. But he is on the hard compound tyres, so give him a bit of leeway. Those tyres were never going to start well. Nico in P6 almost got in trouble at turn 3. Thankfully, he was able to avoid it. Parker in P7, followed by Capone in P8. Decent start from him, up 2 places. Stubbly up 3 in P9. KD rounding out the top 10. Axis, fastest man on track at the moment, and no one's beating his time of a 6.8. See Captain Schmeg closing on JBH here as we head into the Niki Lauda curve. Running wide and inviting the opportunity for Captain Schmeg to move on by. He does. Schmeg into P12, JBH down to 13th, but he's going to try and counter-attack, it seems. Decides to go against it. He falls back in behind the Haas and stays in P13. In fact, Captain Schmeg is on the attack, trying to go down the inside of Black Baller here as we head down into turn 4. Schmeg gives him room, no contact, and it's a clean pass. Schmeg moves up to P11. Round turn 6, down the hill towards turn 7. He's using a little bit of curve. Can't be too tempted to use too much. It can unsettle the car somewhat. We've got a bit of a train forming here with Stubbly right at the front of it. Then we have the leaders in their own separate train. Blockman losing touch to the 3 cars in front. Nanda unable to fully utilise the pace of the soft tyres. Saucy is still holding 2nd position. Captain Schmeg passes KD, so another pass here as KD, he must have made a mistake. KD must have made a mistake at turn 1. He was overtaken by Black Baller. He was up into P11, and now KD under attack from JBH. Both cars have DRS, so it's a straight up drag race down into turn 4. JBH staying alongside KD, gets the nose in front. There we go, clean pass. KD down to 13th position now. Here's your race leader, Axis, with a comfortable margin in hand. 1.5 seconds is the gap. Rebel of Saucy doing well to hang on to his position, keeping Nanda and Rebel at bay. I must say Rebel looks quick at the moment. He needs to try and find a way by the Haas as soon as possible. KD pits, so he must have damage. He's in for repairs. Up towards turn number 3. Nanda gets by Saucy finally. Rebel trying to look around the long way at the hairpin. He can't quite make that work. So Rebel staying in P4. Saucy down to 3rd. Nanda up into 2nd. Down into turn 4. No position change here. Just trying to sort themselves out for the moment. Capone a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. Gap continuing to extend between the top 2. It's increased to 1.8 seconds. Down towards turn 9. Rebel bit stuck here in this 3-car train. Because the car in front has DRS, he gains little to no straight line speed advantage here. So he can't build up momentum to try and pass Saucy into a place like turn 3 or turn 4. In fact, look at him go. The Red Bull passes Nanda with ease. Saucy back up into second. Nanda down to third. Round the heck. That's a good run from Rebel. Gets the power down. DRS open. But look at the straight line speed of the Haas. Gets back in front and attacks down the inside of turn 4. Overshoots the corner and through goes Saucy and Rebel. Oh, that was a bit of lag there. But no harm, no foul. So Nanda down to P4 with that tiny mistake. Just overshooting the corner ever so slightly. Loses 2 positions as a result. Blockman leading this train with Nico, Parker, Capone right behind. Down the hill and around the final corner, back on to the main straight away. Nico has to close in by 0.6 of a second. Does he have the straight line speed to try and slingshot past? Well, not the best of runs from the looks of things there at turn 1. He lost time to Blockman, but with DRS he'll gain that time back. There's the battle for second. Here comes the battle for fifth. 4-car train, 2 different strategies. A dive bomb down the inside. Gone horribly wrong. Forces Parker wide. Capone went off the circuit himself. They both lost a lot of time as a result. Capone with the inside line. He gets in front. Parker moves down to P8. Capone gains a place, but he's lost 1.7 seconds to the cars in front. Meanwhile, battle for P2. We have Saucy leading this 3-car train. Rebel now in third. He can try and set up something to try and get by Saucy. Axis, meanwhile, out in front, leading the way. It's nice to see him back as well here in America's Tier 1. Very fast driver. Showcasing that at the moment. Out of turn 1. Up the hill now. DRS open on the Alpine. Little bit of help from the slipstream as well. Look at him close the gap. Parker gets a penalty. Rebel gets close, but not close enough to attack into the hairpin. But he's all over that Red Bull's gearbox. Got a nice run out of turn 3 as well. Low on battery. Won't be able to do much as Parker gets Capone back. Ironically at turn 3. He's got a stuffy 3-second time penalty. Multiple warnings. Rebel 2/10 back. Oh, Rebel! Big understeer there. Nanda caught off guard. Lost time. Still within a second though. 7/10 behind. Oh, and here comes Rebel. Saucy's had a poor run out of 7 and 8. The Alpine's all over the back of the Red Bull now as we head around the final corner and back onto the main straightaway. DRS open. He doesn't go for the move at turn 1. That's a smart thing to do. It's a very tricky part of the racetrack to try and make a move. Better off waiting and sending it into turn 3 or perhaps even into turn 4. You can hear the engine note changing as he rises the hill. He's actually backing off deliberately to try and not make a move. Capone gets by Parker as well. What do you know, at turn 3, I'd see a bit of action between those two. As Rebel, that was an easy pass. That was just with DRS. Nothing major with that. Parker gets back by Capone with DRS. Very similar fashion to Rebel getting by Saucy. Capone using all of the curb there at the exit of turn 4, heading around turn 5. We've got a few battles up and down the field, which is good to see. No one's challenging our race leader. Axis has got a healthy margin in hand. A margin of 4.1 seconds. We now begin lap 10 of 36. We have got a long, long way to go in this Austrian Grand Prix. Onto the long straightaway heading up towards turn 2 and turn 3. Saucy a bit too far behind. Try and do anything just yet. See the flashing red light though on the back of that Alpine. Rebel low on battery. Might invite an opportunity for Saucy to try and set up a move. He's still a bit too far back though. He's got 74% in that Red Bull, so he's got plenty to try and play with. And I'll double check that with the telemetry. Okay, 62. Yeah, so this is a nice visual glitch that currently exists within the game, where from a spectator point of view, the information you get from a driver's steering wheel is completely wrong. So I can't rely on that information anymore. So if I want to look at a driver's battery or something like that, I do have to bring up the telemetry every time. So less than ideal. But it's what you come to expect from Codemaster games these days. Alright. Another battle between these two, and I reckon it's going to happen at turn 3. It's a poor run there from Parker. Capone absolutely nailed turn 1. Speaking of not nailing turn 1, Stubbly was very, very wide there. Managed to pull the car up though. Keep it straight. Capone round the outside. Contact. These two aren't playing nice, as I believe Smokey has just retired from the session. He's actually retired on track, which is something you can't do here on Race Spec Esports. Hopefully that doesn't bring out a safety car. Axis is arriving. Yeah, look, that's what it does. Because the AI just doesn't despawn. Okay? It drives around the racetrack, and if ghosting's turned off or if it's not working properly, all it does is create drama. It can create an accident. So don't retire on track, especially considering the fact this is lap 11 of a 36 lap race. You've got so long to go. It is not over. Anyway. Up towards turns 2 and 3. Rebel still holding second. Saucy closing in though. Look at the momentum. He's going to go for it. Down the inside here at turn 3. Pulls the car up, gets the move done. Second is his, but Rebel will counterattack. Doesn't have DRS though. Neither does Saucy. The Red Bull has better straight line speed, and he keeps second. There you go. Captain Schmeg attacking Parker. This is for P8. He's going to go for 7th here. Down the inside, 3 wide action here at turn 4. Bit of fisticuffs, but they all get through okay. It's Captain Schmeg who wins the battle. He moves up into 7th position. Capone in 8th, Parker 9th, and Stubbly's just behind in P10. So is Black Baller. So we've got a 5-car train here for 7th place. Look at them all making their way around turn 8 and up the hill towards turn 9. Rebel, a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. It's going to hold him back in the long run. Back onto the main straightaway, a bit wide there from Parker. That might have been a warning. Down the main straight towards turn 1. Rebel meanwhile is closing in with the power of DRS. He looks down the inside here into turn 3. Doesn't fully commit to the move though, so he stays behind for now. I don't quite think he's close enough to try and set up something at turn 4. Or maybe he is if he's going to risk it, but he doesn't. He stays behind. Captain Schmeg, followed by Capone. Parker trying to attack here. The AlphaTauri trying to draw alongside, heading down into the hairpin. Ooh, it's tight. It's very tight, but they both get through. Parker has the advantage. Capone doesn't keep the fight alive. He elects to give in. Battle another day. He moves down to P9. Parker up to P8. But he's lost ground to Captain Schmeg. As Nanda pits? No, Rebel's in. Or pull it up. Yep, just about pulled it up. Hard tyres at the ready. The undercut is quite powerful in F123. Rebel is set to gain a fair chunk of time on his rivals, but he will lose it later in the race. Here comes JBH. 13 lap old hards. He's by himself at the moment. Now he has a little bit of company with Rebel slotting in behind. Down the back straightaway towards turn 4. Who's close enough to battle? No one at the moment. They're all a bit too far spread out. Try and battle for position. Blockman Nico on the hard compound tyre. They're operating quite well. Rebel gets by JBH. That was for P11 on track. Round turn 9. The penultimate corner. Nico just playing a longer game here. Nanda's finally in to get off those soft tyres. I'll be curious, does he pit for mediums or does he pit for hards? Parker, a 3-second time penalty. Multiple warnings. Set of mediums going on the Haas. Interesting. Going to be quite quick initially, but after a while those tyres are going to be pretty well screwed. And he has to do over half the race with them too. Here's your 5-car train battling for what is currently P5. Of course, we're in the middle of a pit cycle, so the order's shuffled somewhat. Capone closing in on Parker again. These two are having a big old ding-dong battle. Oh, and Capone gets in front. Managed to park the bus at the apex of turn 4 as well. Parker actually touched the back of the Red Bull there at the hairpin. Hopefully he doesn't get any damage from that. Never really know with this game sometimes. It's very difficult from a spectator POV to try and pick up on wing damage. When it's minor, it's almost impossible to spot. Capone going into the pits now, so he's getting off these hards. Gonna do a very long stint on the mediums. Very long stint indeed. Saucy coming out of pit lane. Oh, will it be a double stack? Oh, no. That was alright. I don't think he was screwed over too much by coming in this soon. KD, a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. For KD, it's just a survival race now. Just keep going. Hopefully a bit of luck goes your way. And if it does, then make the most of it. That's all you can really do in this particular situation. Around turn 4. See what I mean? Like, it on the steering wheel, it currently says pit limiter and has the P symbol to say that it's engaged. It definitely isn't in pit lane right now. That's for damn sure. But no, it's a neat little visual glitch. It's a feature. I love Codemaster stuff. So good, top quality. So now Blockman and Nico take the lead of the race. They're going long on their hard compound tyres. Axis already coming out of the pits on fresh, hard tyres. Nanda sets the new fastest lap. Here comes Rebel, and the undercut has worked a treat. He's cut down on that gap by quite a bit, and he's now gotten in front of Axis. That's the power of the undercut. Down in P3, P2, and he's now all the way up into the provisional race lead. Of course, though, with Axis on fresher tyres, he's going to have such a massive pace advantage that I think he should be able to get by Rebel pretty quickly. Stubbly applying pressure to Parker, who's on aging medium compound tyres. Won't be able to do much through this section, but if you can set up a run through the final 2 corners, utilise the power of DRS, he should find a way through, or just let Parker go into pit lane. Either or. Rebel. Front of... Wait a minute. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. So, I got a bit confused because Black Baller was suddenly in between Axis and Rebel. That's because Black Baller was going into the pits. Okay, I understand that. Rebel getting by Stubbly. Axis should follow suit. Does indeed follow suit. Down to second gear. Tidy overtake. A lot of cooperation there by Stubbly. Just leaving the door open enough to allow that to happen. That's a huge lift. What's your situation? 0.6 up. That was a massive lift into turn 4. No lifting through here. Just following the leader. Stubbly going into the pits, just letting Nanda through. Oh, no, he's not. No, he's not. Still running, just wanted to let the faster car through. Very gentlemanly, he didn't have to do that. You have every right to fight for your positions, but he elected not to. Another big old lift. Oh! Almost goes into the back of Rebel there. What are we doing? We're going to attack here at turn 3. Down the inside. Gets in front. Rebel moves down to P4. Can he counter-attack here, though? Towards turn 4. The answer is no. Axis just a bit too quick. Captain Schmeg, KD, contact! There at turn 3. Seen 1 or 2 botched overtakes there. Seems like it's not going to end. KD moves down to P10. Captain Schmeg up to P9. Alright, Blockman's in. Pulls the car up. So he'll be putting on medium compound tyres and he'll go to the end of the race on those. Axis, Rebel and Nanda will fly by. Stubbly's in as well. He's going to put on mediums to go to the end. There goes Saucy into 5th place. Got a fair chunk of catching up to do. Parker, a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. Stubbly coming out of pit lane now. He'll fall behind Black Baller, I would think. He does, so that's P11. KD in the pit lane too, so he's put on another, or rather an old set of hards, so he'll go to the end of the race on those. Rebel, 4/10 behind. The only thing Rebel can do is give himself a shot. And what I mean by that, he needs to stay within 1 second from here to the end of the race. I don't think he has the outright pace to beat Axis here. Axis is on fresher tyres. He's been quick all race. So there's really not much Rebel can do other than stay within a second and just keep applying pressure to Axis. Just utilise the power of DRS. Maybe not outright attack him like dive bomb him or something. Just stay with him. Try and apply pressure. Because yeah, Axis has got this thing hooked up at the moment. He is quick. But just try and create an error from the AlphaTauri driver. I think that's all he could do in this position. Nanda's on the back foot when it comes to his tyres right now. Because those mediums, even after 6 laps, they don't appear to be as sharp as what they once were. They don't have that outright grip. But he's still keeping up, and that's the main thing. He needs to stay within that 1 second range to Rebel. Just stay in the fight. Give yourself a chance. Don't have to do the fighting per se. You can let the drivers in front make all the mistakes, but you need to stay in the running, so you need to stay within that 1 second range. Nico's still out on track. He is going incredibly long on these tyres. I'm not really sure what his game is. He's just going. He might pit onto softs, perhaps. That could be an option. But he's a pit stop behind... well, everybody now. Everyone's made at least 1 stop, and Stubbly gets by Black Baller. But yeah, I'm not really sure what Nico's game is. Don't know. Suppose we'll find out in a little while. When the laps tick down, we get closer to the finish. But yeah, no, Axis looks in control right now. Nico's coming in. There go the leaders. Nico will be pitting onto the probably medium compound tyre. Let's have a look. Right at the end of pit lane, that's where the Williams garage is. Okay, he's taking a gamble. He's going on to softs. I mean, why not? In his position. Do something a bit different, see if it works. Here comes Capone. He'll get by Nico. Nico will be passed by Captain Schmeg. At least for a brief moment. Nico, though, with the inside line. Sends it in. Pulls it up. Rotates the car. Makes contact. But gets in front. P7. Captain Schmidt can't really do anything about that on the tyres that he's on. So he'll stay in P8. This is the battle for the top place. Axis, Rebel and Nanda. Axis in control. Rebel doing the best he can. Same with Nanda. As Nico gets by Capone. That was before turn 9. So must have got a pretty decent run out of 7 and 8. Was able to set up a pretty simple pass. And he moves up into P6. 7.1 seconds is the gap between himself and Blockman in P5. Capone with Captain Schmeg closing in. Weaving about, trying to break the slipstream as we head up towards turn number 3. Has a brief look down the inside, but doesn't fully commit to the move. He stays behind. Oh, but a poor run from Capone results in contact at corner exit. Can't see any damage on the Haas. Captain Schmeg looking for a move down the inside here at turn 4. Gets in front, tidy overtake. Our driver moves up into P7. And can't do much through this middle sector to try and counter-attack, so he stays behind. Top 3 battle. Axis, Rebel, Nanda. Axis just pulling away ever so slightly. The gap has increased to 9/10 of a second. Nanda is chipped away at Rebel. He looks briefly down the inside, but he doesn't fully commit to the move. His tyres are still hanging in there. They're doing well. Round. Oh, that's... Yeah, I was going to say, that was cutting way too much there at turn 4. That's a 3-second time penalty for Nanda. I believe that puts him on an even keel with Rebel. It does. So this battle has become a genuine one. Both drivers have 3 seconds worth of penalties. But of course, we've still got a long way to go. There might be more penalties to come. Speaking of which, that's a great piece of timing for me, as Jay gets a time penalty, increasing his total to 6 seconds. Parker, Capone. These two have been going at it absolutely all race, and Parker is not having a fun time with track limits. Stubbly on the attack, down the inside, heading towards turn 1, gets it done before the corner. Oh, running wide is Capone, losing time, Black Baller closes in. Stubbly doing the same on Parker. He moves to the inside at turn 2, gets the job done before turn 3. Moves up into P8. Meanwhile, Blockman has closed in on Saucy. The gap is 4.5 tenths. Up and over the hill towards turn number 9. Down the hill towards turn 10. Onto the main straightaway. DRS open on the Alpine. Blockman goes to the inside. Capone gets a penalty, increasing his total to 9 seconds. Blockman moves into 4th position. Scottish Duffy a penalty as well. Capone and Black Ball are changing places here. Oh, Capone is actually in. He might have damage, perhaps, or no. Just elected to change tyres. There goes JBH. Moves through into P11. Back up to this. Half a second is the gap. Rebel trying to apply as much pressure as he can to the car in front. The race leader, Axis, driven superbly so far. On those 10-lap-old hards, he's got plenty of grip, plenty of speed, just keeping Rebel at bay. Although Rebel's put together a pretty solid run through turn 10, closing the gap quite considerably to the race leader. Maybe Axis is starting to feel the pressure a little bit, because here comes the Alpine. Oh, he's taken him out! He's taken himself out! Oh, I can't believe it! What was Rebel thinking? A safety car has been deployed! Oh my goodness me! Such an elementary overtake gone completely wrong! How did he screw that up? He tried to go to the left. The two tangled. Went off the racetrack. A drive-through for Scottish Duffy speeding under the safety car, not paying attention to the Delta. What the? How? How does that happen? Such a simple pass gone completely wrong. Alright. Well, that was something. Drivers are in. Of course they're in. You have to take the opportunity to pit. I'm lost on that one. I am completely lost. How did that happen? Blockman's pitted onto mediums. Why didn't he pit onto softs? Could have pit onto softs. Nico has elected to stay out. I actually agree with that move. Because it's demonstrated over the course of this race. The track position... Oh, what the... He's come to a dead stop. Oh, now suddenly we've got all this drama. What is happening? What happened? Oh my goodness. I am completely flabbergasted. My God. Somehow Axis as well, during that incident, he went into the gravel. He somehow kept it out of the barriers. Rebel went hard into the barriers. Like, full on hard into the barriers. My God. Can't wait to look back on that and work out what happened. That is amazing. I don't think I've ever seen something like that. Yeah. Oh, and Capone. What? Capone's retired. Look, there's his... He's just voluntarily retired, look. His car's still... Why? There's a safety car, he got 7 to go. Why did he voluntarily retire? What? Why did he do that? He's left. He must have something on. Surely. That would be the only reason why that would happen. Something must have cropped up, so... Oh, gee whiz. Scottish Duffy, a 5-second penalty for speeding. And Duffy's got a drive-through to serve too. So that's Duffy's race over, pretty much. Oh, what has happened? I am so... Yeah, wow. In terms of tyres, everyone's on softs, except for Blockman. Just a note as well, Nico's tyres, they're considerably older than just about everybody else's. In terms of penalties, fair few drivers have them. Nanda with 3, Stubley with 3, Parker with 15, JBH with 3, KD with 6, Duffy with plenty, plus a drive-through, and Jay with 6. Hi, plebs. How you doing? You want to know how I'm doing? I'm bloody flabbergasted. I saw one of the most peculiar incidents I think I've ever seen as a commentator. It's near enough crashing on a straightaway. That's basically what happened. Yeah. So, and he's gotten another. Why is he back in? You're on fresh tyres. Oh, he just retires. Okay. Duffy's had enough, but the thing is, he's retired at a point where I don't think you'd be classified by the game. And the top 15 score points in Race Spec. Yeah. Anyway. Like, it's not the regular point system. 1 to 25, it's... Yeah. Fair enough. If you had enough, you had enough. Safety car lights are out. Nico controls the field. Okie dokie, let's get this thing back underway. We've got 5 laps to go when Nico crosses the line. Nico's on older soft tyres compared to everybody else. Quite a bit older. Should be a fairly decent pace disadvantage for Nico. Should be. Blockman's on mediums as well. He's the only driver in the field on the mediums. Yeah, I'm not surprised. This game is broken when it comes to the Delta during VSCs and safety car periods. Nico restarts. Here we go. We're back under green flag conditions here at the Red Bull Ring. Nico already under attack. Nanda is all over the back of him as we head through turn 1 and up the hill. A little bit of contact between Nanda and Axis as we head up the hill. KD, a 3-second time penalty, increasing his total to 9 seconds. Axis is under attack. Blockman may be on mediums, but he's going for it down the inside of turn 3. Exiting the hairpin now, onto the back straightaway. Who has the legs? It's Blockman in the Alpine. Axis is trying to counter-attack. He's offered the outside line, heading into turn 4. Oh, Nando almost goes into the back of Nico, and Axis can't find a way through just yet on Blockman, so he stays in P4. Saucy hovering behind. Captain Smeg in P6. They don't have penalties, so they're in with a shot for a race win. As we head around turn 7 and around turn 8, up towards turns 9 and 10. Here we go, over the crest, down the hill, into the final 2 corners. Nanda, he's got pace. Oh, he's made contact with the race leader. Thankfully, nothing bad happened from that. Parker with a 3-second time penalty. Nanda looking down the inside as we head towards the Niki Lauda curve. He gets in front before the braking zone and moves into the race lead. Onto the straightaway here as running wide. That was Blockman in the Alpine, and he loses a place, as a matter of fact. He loses it to Axis, who moves back up to P3. Around the hairpin we go. It's tied between Nico and Axis. Axis has got traction with those fresher tyres. Drawing alongside the Williams down towards turn 4. The Williams covers though. Oh, covers it from Blockman, so Blockman stays in P4. Oh, he's got a run going now, trying to look around the outside here. At turn 6 he can't get that done. Axis meanwhile in P2, 1 second behind Nanda. He doesn't have to battle the Haas driver. He can just stay within that 3-second range and victory will be his. Blockman's got a run going, looking down the inside of turn 9. He doesn't commit to the move though. He'll stay behind. Down the hill and around the final corner. We'll head back onto the main straightaway to begin the next lap. JBH with a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. Down towards turn 1. Nico hanging on to dear life here on those old tyres. He just doesn't have the pace as we head up the hill once again to turn 2. Blockman gets in front now. Saucy's going to try and follow. Look at the Red Bull go down the inside at turn 3. Can he pull it up? Not quite. Blockman goes back through. So does Nico. And a concertina effect for both Parker and Studley with that Red Bull blocking the racetrack at turn 3. They both lose time and they both can't pass the Red Bull either. Side-by-side action between Studley and Parker. Both drivers have penalties. Parker definitely worse off with 18 seconds next to his name. Heading around turn 6 down the hill towards turn 7. No one in a position to attack just yet. 2.5 tenths the gap between Nico and Saucy. So head over the crest, down the hill, and around turns 9 and 10. Tight fight. The terrible audio is here. That's good to know. That's going to be fun to deal with for the final 2 laps. Stubbly getting by Parker. Down the inside, heading into turn 1. Gets a move done, makes it stick. P6 is his. Up the hill. Look at them go. Look at them fight. Saucy getting by Nico. Not much Nico can do about that. Stubbly looking down the inside of Nico here. As we head around turn 3. Contact, I believe, between Parker and Stubbly. Nico, with the lack of grip, is trying to hang on to P6 now. 3 wide action heading down the back straight away. KD's involved. There's contact. More contact as we head down into turn 4. Even more contact at the apex. KD's forced wide into the gravel and he tumbles down to 9th place. Schmeg, Nico, side by side, heading... Oh, contact! Nico gets loose, and off the racetrack goes Parker. He plummets down the order. Passed by just about everybody. He moves all the way down to P11. There's plenty of action towards the tail of the pack, but at the front, it's pretty elementary. Nanda leads, but with the 3-second time penalty next to his name, he will not be winning this race, unless, of course, Axis, at some point over the course of this final lap, makes a mistake. Up the hill towards turn 2 and turn 3 for the final time. Just needs to get through this lap without making a mistake. Look at this pack. Pack of angry, hungry cars trying to battle for position. Oh, KD cutting off Black Baller there at the apex of turn 3. Tough love between those two. And now we've got the 2 Mercs drag racing down towards turn 4. Jay just behind them in P11. Black Baller gets in front, takes P9. It's been a solid race from Nanda. Put together a good one, but that 3-second time penalty will ultimately hold him back. Down the hill for the final time and around the final corner. Nando will cross the line in first. He will not stay there though. Axis is the winner of the Austrian Grand Prix. Blockman home in P2. Nanda on the podium in 3rd. Saucy 4th. Nico with no penalties rounds out the top 5. Who's given driver of the day? It's given to Captain Schmeg. We'll see how he fared in the final results screen, but for now it's time for the podium celebrations. Deserving winner of this Austrian Grand Prix. Axis put together a superb race. P2 going to Blockman. P3 to Nanda. All those drivers were fighting amongst it in the top 5 pretty much all race. But without that safety car, no one was touching Axis. He was in complete control. So there we are. The end of the first round of the Americas series here on Race Spec Esports. Axis is your race winner by 1.1 seconds to Blockman, with Nanda completing the podium in P3 with fastest lap, no less. Saucy P4, followed by Nico in 5th, Stubbly P6, then Black Baller. Captain Schmeg moving up from 14th position, ends up finishing 8th, gaining 6 places over the course of this race. JBH P9, J 10th, KD rounding out, KD in P10 as J rounds out the top 10. Parker P12, Duffy, are you classified? Out of curiosity, go open. No, I thought you retired too soon. They're not classified. Capone isn't classified, neither is Rebel and Smokey. Gee whiz. That race was pretty good. Qualifying was very interesting. And then it all kicked off with about 7 laps to go. One very strange incident kicked off a whole heap of drama right at the end of that race. It was quite a lot of fun to watch. Oh. But no, that's the first week of Race Spec Season 9, and I must say I've had a lot of fun with this. Plenty of stuff to talk about, plenty of interesting races. I think this might be the first week in a while where all three series that I commentate, Elite, Pacific Tier 1 and Americans Tier 1, have all provided pretty interesting races. Again, it just shows you the quality of the Red Bull Ring. You always get some pretty nutty races around here. And this week, we got 3 of them on the trot. So this has been quite a lot of fun. Congrats again to our top 3 finishers. Congrats to Axis, first win of the season. Welcome back to Tier 1, mate. It's nice to have you back. But I think, folks, with everything said and done, it's now time for us to end the stream. I've been Lane Everingham. Thank you, everyone, so much for watching. And we'll see you next week for round 2 of the championship at Bahrain International Circuit for the Bahrain Grand Prix. Until then, it's goodbye.